Hello everyone, NeverBeGosu bringing to you another video for EVE Online. Today's content we're going to be going over is crashing wormholes and safing your wormholes. So again, this is for Blind Squirrels Alliance, NeverBeGosu Corporation, but anyone can get information off of this. It's actually really helpful and useful. So if you need to learn a little bit and you want a better understanding of how things work in wormholes and crashing holes and safing your hole, then this is the way to do it. So first thing we're going to start out is I am in a wormhole. We are going to discuss the wormhole and kind of figure out what the differences of wormholes there are, kind of show you a little bit on the website of how they work, and then we're going to crash it. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go over fittings. Okay, so under the fitting manager, we're going to go over the actual crash fit that I use. Wow, this is kind of weird. My screen's not working for this. Move source. Give me 1 second to fix this, guys. I don't know what the hell is going on there. Alright. So under fitting manager, pretty much what we're going to look at here is this is a basic fit that I use, that I build for my guys. So we're not using the overwhelming 500 MN, but we do have our Higgs anchor, large Higgs, and then I went with ancillary current routers just for the power, okay, because we're dropping a lot of 1600 plates. All right. You do have your 1 cat booster if needed, your large micro jump drive to escape, your burst jammer 2s in order to, if somebody is pointing you, to get it off of you. And then your 50 MN micro warp drive, which is going to give you another 10. And I'll explain that in a second, but another 10, essentially 10 million mass, or 10,000, whatever. And then I've got my newts up top, of course your improved cloak, and then your core probe launcher with probes and cat boosters in the hole. All right. So that's the main fit. Now, why does this fit work? So your Higgs anchor gives your ship a lot more mass, and then when you activate your MWD, your micro warp drive, it increases. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate this once and show you that we go up to literally 249,875, which my target is with the dummy is 250,000 mass. Okay, so with that 250,000 mass, we have a round even number of 250. To go into your 2 billion holes and your 1 billion holes, which we'll explain in a moment. So that's our dummy fit, and that's what I'll be crashing the wormhole with today. And then for our secondary fit, if you give me just a moment. And our secondary fit is going to be the Gnosis. And again, you have your medium Higgs anchor, and then I went with just bulkheads, just for defense if someone's trying to kill it and I try to race back to the hole, whatever. But I have the burst jammer, 2 webs, and a micro warp drive, a tracking disruptor, and a scrambler. So if somebody tackles me with this Gnosis, I'm usually jumping between and closing a C1 with this. But every once in a while you're doing the high sec hole, whatever. If you jack up your math. But this ship is actually really good at tackle and holding it while fleet members can get onto the grid and actually kill whatever's tackling me trying to crash the hole. So that's why I have these mechanisms on this fit, but that's the fit we use. Alright, navigation on this one. So as you can see, with the micro warp drive on, you're at 120,000, so which comes out to 120 million when you're crashing a hole. I'll get into that math in a minute. So when you turn it off, you're only at 20,000. So that's why you can use it for C1 crashing. And when you have big differences on math, it actually works terrifically because you can put 20,000 mass. Hold on 1 second. Docking up another char who's flying around high sec doing stupid shit. Alright, so you have 20,000 mass that you can put out, and then you can jump back in doing another 120. So less chance of crashing it on the out, more chance of crashing it on the in, whatnot. We'll go over all the math in just a moment. So let's put that back on, blah, blah, blah. Alright, so that's the 2 fittings. You can fit any ship to do this, guys. it's, you know, your Higgs anchor and your MWDs is what you use to increase your mass going in and out of wormholes to crash them. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and undock this char, and we are going to warp to the wormhole that I'm crashing. Of course, before I do that, I am going to run said dscan and make sure there's nothing out here getting ready to jump me. Warp to the bookmark. Boom. McDonald's drink. Yep, I'm a fatty. Yes, I'm unhealthy. I vape. Woohoo! Alright, so now we're moving over to the wormhole. We have got the trusty dummy, and we are going to take a look, and then I'm going to show you the next process in calculating this stuff and doing your math. If you're not really good at math, don't be a wormhole crasher, because you end up losing ships. Alright, so we reached the wormhole. As you guys can see, it is a B274. So, the way you do this and the way you'd go about doing this is we are going to go ahead over here to Google, and we are going to click B274 straight up in the address bar. And the first thing that should come up is Elitha.com. I love this website. It's freaking awesome. Click on the link. Your max stable time of the hole is 24 hours. Your max stability mass is 2 billion. Your max regeneration is 0, so these holes do not regenerate. And then your max jump mass is 300. So, 300 into 2 billion. Okay, 300 million into 2 billion. So it's your mass weight you can put through the hole. And this is your max weight to crash the hole. Okay, so, or mass. So I use 250 because 250 goes into this perfectly 8 times. Got it? Everybody understand my math and concept of why I run 250? Okay, good. So we'll get into these numbers a little bit more and what these mean. But while we're on this, and you guys can actually see it, for your times of your wormhole, this wormhole has not yet been begun its natural cycle of decay, which means you have 24 or more hours. Okay, so this one you will not really see very long, this max stability time, because or this first cycle, because it's only a 24-hour hole. Okay, so if it says at least has another day, it means it's above 24 hours. This wormhole is beginning to decay and probably won't last another day. Usually is between 24 hours and 4 hours. Okay, so this is what you normally see in a C2 if you have a high sec static. Alright, this wormhole is reaching the end of its natural lifetime. It means you're less than 4 hours, usually between your 2 and 4. And then this wormhole is on the verge of dissipating into either, or into the ether, is less than 2 hours. Okay, so that's for your max time. Alright, now the important stuff, the mass. This wormhole has not yet had its stability significantly disrupted by ships passing through it, means it's more than 1/2. So 1/2 of the 2 billion would be 1 billion, so we're above 1 billion. After a bunch of ships pass through it, it'll change. This wormhole has its stability reduced by passing ships through it, but not to a critical degree. That means it's less than 1/2, but more than 1/10, which means when it crashes on our hole and it goes down to a critical, that means you've hit the 200 million left. Alright, so it's going to be between 1 billion and 200 million during this cycle. Okay, so not critical degree yet. Alright, the last stage is this wormhole has had its stability critically disrupted by the mass of numerous ships passing through it, and it's on the verge of collapse. That means it has less than the 1/10 of the thing, so, you know, approximately 200 million or less. So that's when we'd switch ships, because you don't want to jump out a 250 mil fucking dummy and then try to come back in, because you're going to crash it on the way out. You're going to get stuck out. Alright, which is why we would jump over to the Gnosis. Okay, so that's your math in a bubble. You guys will get better at it by playing with it more. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and jump through the wormhole. I am going to make sure in my fitting I'm currently 239. I need to be, so I'm going to turn on my MWD to the 249, and I'm going to enter the wormhole. This is going to take a second, but I want you guys to see it. Alright, so that's my first thing through it. Show info. I'm actually going to check something real quick. I do have a char outside the wormhole. Alright, so that's way too far. Screw that. Okay. So I click show info, and pretty much what we get is an unstable wormhole deep in space. This wormhole seems to lead into unknown parts of space. The wormhole is beginning to decay, but probably won't last another day. So we have between, 4 hours and 24 hours. This wormhole has not yet had its stability decrease, so we're still above the 1 billion. Larger ships can pass through this, which is your 300,000 or 300 million. So we've done one pass. We've got 250 through it. We're going to jump through again. Turning back on our MWD again. Okay, so this will put us at 500. We've got to get to 2 billion. So as you can see, it's going to be a few more passes. So what I'm going to do is bring out a little support fleet. And this support fleet is going to help us crash the hull. So when you're doing it in the high-sec side, guys, it's actually a lot safer. C1s aren't that bad. When you start crashing your C5s and your C4s, that's where it gets a little dangerous. So that's when you're getting caught and stuff, and that's when your fit is custom to crashing that type of wormhole, is what I would say. So we're just waiting to jump back through. My support fleet is on the way to the wormhole. So this will put us at 500. Okay, my other two ships are landing on the other side of the wormhole. You'll see them when I jump in. So now we've got 500 on our hull. And as you can see, if I click show info here, it should not have its stability because we're only at 500 mil. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 more ships through it. Just make sure I'm having the right mass on these. Good. And you enter wormhole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 more in and 2 more out that are not me. So it's just, the guys in my corp. They're going to jump because I am polarized. And then what I'll do is I'll actually crash the hull with Tia. So what we're watching for here is we're actually watching to see when this crits. So technically speaking, these 2 are going to jump out, which is going to put another 500, which will make us at 1 billion. And it should, when they jump out, go to the second phase. Now these are slow boats. Some people use the 500 MN for that exact reason. I don't like using the 500 MN because I can't get my math to straight 250 with it. I haven't played with it enough and still have a fit that I think is okay. But with that 500 MN, you can actually get to and from the hole a lot faster with your battleships. So, but if you're warping in at 0, the track back from the high-sec side isn't that bad, and that's usually what I warp with. So, okay, so there's 1. Second one should be jumping any second. I'm going to reapproach hull on Tia, so we're ready to do this when it happens. Now technically, I have my whole hole scanned down. So right now, literally, this is how my probe scanner would look, which I'll get into that in a second, because that is kind of important on why you're doing this with the hole crashing anyway. Holy crap, jumped the hole. Uh-oh. Might have screwed up my math there. Alright, so we just hit the 1 bill. So technically speaking, that's our 1 billion mark, guys. Alright, so what we're going to do on the other two ships on the other side are going to come back in. So enter wormhole. And put myself over by about 10 mil. So we're going to go off and off. That works. Alright. So I've got those two jumping back in, which would put us at, technically speaking, 1.5 billion. As you can see right now, before those ships even got here, or come back in, the wormhole has had its stability reduced by passing ships through it, but it's not at a critical degree yet. So we're between the 1 billion and the 200 million mark. Okay? So technically speaking, we've literally put 1 billion through. When they come back through, we'll have 1.5, and that should leave us with just a little bit left. So literally 500 mil, which would be another rotation of a dummy. So the problem with this is you have a 10%, I'd say it's about 10 to 15% based off of my calculations in past history, between 10 and 15% leeway, top or bottom, on your mast that can go through the hole before crashing it. So every once in a while you get to the point where if you jump out with this dummy, the last one, and you jump out and go to jump back in, you'll crash it on the way out. So the step to watch to prevent that from happening is actually when these ships are coming back in, watching when this thing goes critical. Okay, that's very important. So right now on the outside of the wormhole, I have one coming in on approach and one coming in on to jump, and that way they're kind of split up so I can see when it goes crit. Because when it goes crit, we know that we only have 200 left to put through. Okay, literally, like, that's the max. Well, I guess 220 would be the max if you count the 10 to 15%. But I think you know what I mean. So I am actually jumping in with one. We're going to see if it crits the hole, which it should not. We should be able to get a whole nother ship in before it crits. Sorry guys, it's taking a little bit longer than I'd hope because I am slow boating in a dummy. So one way to do this on the other side, you jump like an interceptor through and you just fly out to 150 km, and that way you have like a warp out safe for your dummies. So they jump in, warp to the warp out safe, warp back to the hole at 0. Works out really well. So instead of slow boating back, kind of takes forever. Alright, so we got one about to jump back in. Holy crap. Hurry up, you stupid ship. Alright, should be coming one of them now. There we go. Gate flash, gate flash, gate flash. So that's one in. So let's check the hole. Should be still good. Not to critical yet. Second one's going to come back. We should have a gate flash any second now. There we go. So the second one's back in. Okay, so that's good. Technically speaking, we should not see this as going critical yet, okay? Because we've only put literally 1,500 through, right? So now, when this goes through, on the way out, I should get a critical. So notice I jumped and then turned on my MWD. That's fine. When you're actually exiting the hole is when this math calculates. So I just jumped through the hole and it went crit, okay? So as you see, it got smaller. Show info. This hole has had its stability critically disrupted. Now when I come back in, it should crash the hole. So we're going to reapproach. We're going to turn on our MWD. Right now we're literally at 1750 on the hole, which leaves 250 left, and it's critical. And then jumping back in with this last dummy should kill the hole, and everybody should be on the proper side of the hole. So it's all a math game, guys. You know, there is, because of that degree of error, there is a chance that you are going to screw up your math. If that happens, don't really worry about it when you're doing the high-sec side, unless you're on an island. That kind of sucks. But you're in wormholes. When you get back to the island, eventually, you know, fly your shit back in the wormhole before you crash it. But when you're doing stuff like C4, C5s, you know, it's more keen to have your math good, which is why you watch. I mean, if it was just mathematics and basic mathematics, you'd know exactly what you put through, and you can crash it properly every time. But there is that 10-15% leeway, so watch when it goes crit. That's your main factor. Okay, you watch when they actually change the phase of what phase they're at in the hole with the mass going through it, and you can readjust your math a little bit in case, you know, you went under or over. You use that to kind of readjust. On top of that, if you don't have a wormhole that's fresh, like it was not a brand new K162 that just popped in your system, and you know it's not fresh, you don't know how much mass has passed through it. So, you know, you can sit there and, you know, use your basic math for the hole size, but there's a possibility that 200,000 or 300,000 of mass already went through that hole. And if that's the case, you have to be very, very careful, because you're going to crash the hole and you're going to be on the wrong side of it. So again, watch those phase changes between the, you know, the levels of stability, okay? So when it goes crit, pretty much you want to be jumping back in. I mean, that's simple as that. So you want it to go crit when you're on the bad side of the hole and jump back into your hole to get it to crash. I mean, that's kind of your basic sub. Now, let's say I jumped out and it didn't go crit. I would jump back in and it would probably go crit, and then I wouldn't jump out again with this big-ass ship. I would have switched to the Gnosis. Okay? Just to kind of give you an example of what would happen if I hit those numbers wrong. So we're jumping back in. This should crash the hole. And you jump about 5,000 meters, by the way. Okay, so I jump back in. The hole should crash. If it does not crash, which it should, because it was crit. And as of right now, I don't think it crashed. There it goes. Cool. You have passed through the wormhole. You realize that it collapses behind you. Hope you didn't become stuck on the wrong side. And that's it. Remove the waypoint. And wait for the new high sec to pop. Launch probes. Go ahead and warp. Actually, I don't want to warp. What we're waiting for is the new Sigma pop. There it is. So we know this is our high sec. We'll go ahead and scan it down. And I'm just updating my stuff here, guys. Hold on one second. For the Alliance. Finish scanning it down. Save location. Alright. So that's it. Now, I ignore this. And once again, we have a safe wormhole. We know it's safe because we know all the sites. We know that the wormhole for our high sec and the C1 has just been closed. So we know if nobody warps to it, then it's not going to open for, at least 8 hours. So we have, anywhere between 4 and 8 hours to where we have a safe hole, unless somebody was already in here, decloaks, logs in, decloaks, warps to one of these. Then technically speaking, it can open the hole on the other side, or we get another signature for a K162 popping into the system, and then we shut down ops. So right now we have a safe hole. So if we want to go out and do sites or whatever we want, we can run them and be relatively safe. So that's the whole purpose of crashing wormholes in wormholes and safing your space, and that way you can actually get in there and do stuff. But like I said, if there's a fleet of people that know you're active in your hole, whatever, they can sit in your hole, everybody log off, wait until your hole's safe, and then all of a sudden 15 people undock when you've got a massive thing going. Mining fleet of fucking covetors or something, they can come in and take out all your covetors. So that's where you watch, of course, D-scan. And with your D-scan, you just continue to watch D-scan over and over and over again while you're running your ops. So if you have any questions, message me in game. Tia's off at NeverBeGosu Corp, Blind Squirrels Alliance. And hopefully this cleared up a lot of information for you guys when it comes to crashing wormholes. I know that I like a visual instead of the reading shit, and I've read so much about crashing holes, but not until you actually get on there and start doing it do you actually understand how it works. So I thought I'd make a video of me doing it to help people learn. So alright guys, we'll see you later on my next video. I don't know when it's coming out, but it should be soon, and I don't know what it's covering, but it should be fun. So take care guys. Please subscribe on the YouTube channel, like the video, and watch the other videos. So thanks. T out.